I have filmed this already once. I'm gonna film it one more time, but backwards. So this is the end of my palette collection video, the last one. And I'm doing right now the dupe palettes. So I currently have the Bad Habit palettes, so I'll do those first. Okay, so I'm going to film the end of, or the second half of my eyeshadow palette collection video. I'm going to start out with my dupe palettes. This is a company called Bad Habit. Got them off of, I can't remember the name of the website right now, but everybody got all of their Bad Habit palettes in the same spot. So this was actually their Pretty Poison palette, and it was their standalone palette. It is an excellent palette. And then they have their Fantasia palette. Again, this is a dupe palette for the Natasha Denona Tropic palette. They did a really beautiful job with this palette. We have the Dream State Press Glitter palette. It is falling apart a little bit, and this is a dupe for the Fenty, I want to say the Fenty Galaxy palette. Beautiful. This Athena palette, which is a dupe for the Rose Gold palette from Huda Beauty, or one of them. Maybe it was a Sunset palette, I'm not really sure. And then we have the Solstice palette, which was a dupe for the Natasha Denona Sunset palette. And then there's the Aphrodite palette. This is the dupe for another Huda palette. Absolutely beautiful. And you have the Supernova palette, which is a dupe for the Lila palette for Natasha Denona. So now we have all of the dupes for the Huda Beauty palettes. We have After Party, we have After Hours, After Shock, there's After Charge. Okay, and then we have After Dark. After Dark. Now we have the Luna palette, which is a dupe for Anastasia. Okay, so this is the Bad Habit dupe for the PRISM palette, called Retro Love. And this is the Soft Glam dupe. It's called the Arabesque palette. The dupe for the subculture. It's called Aura. And we have the Artistry, which is another ABH palette. I don't remember which one, but this is a dupe for an ABH palette. And then this is the Inferno palette, which is a dupe for, it's a dupe for the Urban Decay, the red palette from Urban Decay. All right, so now we have some dupes from Bad Habit for Pat McGrath. So we've got, this one is called Cult Mania. We have Cult Mystere. It even has those special shades in there. And then there's Cult Mythos. Okay, and then there's Cult Mayhem. Another Pat McGrath dupe. These are so beautiful too. Bad Habit really went out of their way to make beautiful palettes. The last one is Cult Mystics. Look at how beautiful that is. So that is all of my Bad Habit palettes. Next, I'm going to show you a couple of palettes from a company called Alter Ego, which is, I don't know that it's true, but I think that that's where Bad Habit went, was to Alter Ego. So this is the Goddess palette, and it is a Natasha Denona gold palette dupe. Absolutely gorgeous. And then I have the Daydream palette, which is a Huda Nude palette dupe. Beautiful. So some more dupe palette companies. One of them is Face Candy, and they responded to the Icy Betch palette that Tarte put out as a joke, that April Fool's, I want to say 2 years ago. So this is their answer to that, and it is the Atlantis palette, and this is a gorgeous palette. I don't know if you guys remember the Kat Von D Saint and Sinner palette, but this is a dupe for that one. It's by Face Candy. It's called the Wild palette. Then there is a dupe. It's the Sugar palette. It's Face Candy. And this is a dupe for the Peach palette. We have a dupe for the Kylie, I want to say either Nice or Naughty palette here. And this is called the Sahara by Face Candy. Then we have a dupe for the, again, Nice, I think it's the Naughty palette or the Nice palette, I'm not sure. And it is this one called the Amazonia. Palette from PRISM Makeup, and this is a dupe for the Natasha Denona Tropics palette. It's called the Exotic palette. Alright, so this is a dupe for the Lime Crime, one of the XL palettes. And this is by You Can Be. Okay, now I'm going to show you some Beauty Glaze palettes. Some of these are dupe palettes and some of these are not. This Reversal palette is not a dupe. It is by Beauty Glaze. It's one of their standalone palettes. It is a beautiful palette. A dupe from Beauty Glaze for the, it's a Mysterious palette, but it's for the Mercury Retrograde palette. It looks like that. It's beautiful. This is that Huda Beauty one. Then we have a dupe for the Rose Gold palette from Huda Beauty. So now we have some more dupe palettes for Beauty Glaze, and these are for the Huda palettes. I'm not sure. I think this is for the Orange Obsessions, but it's Saturn. And we have Jupiter, which I think is the Amethyst Obsessions, maybe. And then we have the Mars, which I want to say this was, I don't even know. This is the reason why I didn't buy all of the ColourPop multicolored palettes, because Beauty Glaze is actually a pretty good eyeshadow formula. It's not great, but this is for the Sapphire Obsessions for Huda. But this is the Neptune Beauty Glazed. And then we have the Beauty Glazed Uranus, and this is for the Emerald Obsessions. And then Huda came out with those neon palettes. So this is the mint one from Beauty Glazed. Then they have the orange or the melon from Beauty Glazed. And then there is the lemon palette from Beauty Glazed. And the berry palette from Beauty Glazed. Okay, so now we have a couple of palettes that are just some pretty palettes that I got. We have this Cageling palette from Aranes. And this is a palette from, I want to say, China. It's a beautiful palette. It says Huda Moji is the brand, and this is just another standalone palette. Now we have some Aqualon palettes. That's the neutral eyeshadow palette. Okay, so the Aqualon, this is a Christmas actual palette dupe. It's called the Deep Eyes Perfect Stylist Eyes. It was one of the Christmas dupes. So, and then the other one that Aqualon duped was this, it says natural, but it's actually supposed to be metal matte from Kat Von D. So that is what that looks like. Pretty beautiful. I'm going to show off my other palettes where I have mainly singles or a few doubles, but so this is Essence, and this is actually a hollow eye and face palette. So these are all toppers. Let's see, I'll go ahead and swatch a couple of these. So pretty. These go on top of or under shadows to make them brighter. We have this other Essence. It says Never Give Up Your Daydream. And this is a beautiful palette that I use quite a bit for cheeks, inner corners, over top of other shadows. It's really beautiful. Now we have this Belligerent palette. This is gorgeous. If you purchase this palette, it would 100% be worth it.
Mom, can you fix this?
And there is this Mora Stargazing palette. I got this in a I got it in a box. I'm not sure which one, but this is a beautiful palette. This is an Eye Magic Professional Cosmetics. This is a, I'm not Japanese, Chinese, some kind of foreign palette, but these are really beautiful colors. That's why I bought it. We have this palette. It's called, it's from Magify. And again, this is a foreign palette, but I thought it was pretty, so I figured I'd order it and try it out. We have the Still Lousy Darkroom palette with Jordan Liberty. This is a really pretty palette. I've only used it a couple of times, so I haven't gotten a chance to use all of the colors, but it's beautiful. I got this palette from, it's from AS Cosmetics. It's a 24 karat gold palette. It is beautiful. Looks like this black shade is probably breaking, which is scary because that could make a mess of the whole palette. I got this on that website that closed down, the same one I got all of the Bad Habit palettes on. I have this Deck of Scarlet palette. This is the Desert palette, and this was a gift. So this is very good quality. The shimmers were good. They just weren't as poppin' as I like them to be. Not like all my indie brand palettes. And this is from Bombshell Cosmetica. It's the Oh Hubba Hubba palette. And it is very pretty. There's some pastel shades. The shimmer shades are nice. It just isn't a lot of depth in this palette, so it's definitely a palette that you have to use with another palette. I have this Rebel Rouge Labs palette. Now this company is amazing. This is an indie brand that I saw this palette and I just had to have it. This is my 90s. This is me in 90s, basically. So this is a beautiful palette. The shimmers are great. The mattes are great. I love this palette. And I would say that I've probably done looks with 90% of these palettes on my Instagram. So if you want to check that out, definitely go to my Instagram and check it out. So I have this Lorac palette, and this is the Shine Bright palette. Oh, I just stuck my finger in that. So this is the Shine Bright palette, and it is a beautiful palette. I love Lorac shadows. This is the only one that I have, though. The only Lorac palette. This is a beautiful palette, though. I have this Lausch & Company Spring Festival Eyeshadow Collection, and this is a gorgeous palette. These are really nice quality. I do like this palette a lot. It's beautiful. I don't know if some of these are still in, I don't know if they're still in business. So we have this Ofra palette. It is gorgeous. This is the Free Spirit palette. But yeah, this is gorgeous. It's really pretty colors. This purple color came shattered, so I had to repress it, but this is a beautiful palette. Then I have the Tati Beauty Volume 1 palette. Now this palette, 100% I love. It's amazing. I've done some really beautiful looks with this palette. If you can pick this palette up, you definitely should.
No.
So I have this Lucid Dream eyeshadow palette. Now this company is awesome. The shimmers in this palette are amazing, and the mattes are great. I recently got this OPV Beauty Spotlight eyeshadow palette, and this is absolutely gorgeous. This is a UK indie brand, and these are beautiful shades. This reminds me of like an amped up version of the Born to Run palette. Beautiful.
Breakfast. Ooh.
And now we have the Balm. It's a Foiled Again palette. And I have done a couple of looks at these on Instagram and on my YouTube channel. The foiled shades are really, really, really foiled, and the mattes blend out beautifully. We have the Venus 3. This is the Lime Crime palette. And I got this from a friend of mine on Mercari and Instagram. This is a beautiful palette. This Beam is a really beautiful color. I'm sure you already know because This is a pretty common palette. A lot of people have this palette, but he used those two colors. See that? I don't know if you can see that very well, but okay, so this is my Glitter Realm palette, and it is the Samarita palette. This is absolutely gorgeous. It's one of my favorite palettes. Check out these. Absolute favorite palettes. Check it out. Let's see. But that's gorgeous. I've got glitter everywhere now. So, absolutely beautiful. So I got this from a company that put me on their PR list, and it turned out it was a hoax. This is Witchy Glam, but it is not. This is it's called a palette, is pretty famous. It's basically something you can get off Wish or Amazon. But yeah, that's what this palette is. It is a nice palette, but this is when I first started out on Instagram, and yeah. I have this palette from Beauty Bay, and it is the Evolve palette. And this is a beautiful palette. Beautiful. So I got this palette. It's the Soraya Jade palette. It's the Kind of Freaky and Little Geeky palette. And so we've got these shades here. And then the other side. I don't know if you know who Soraya Jade is, but she was a wrestler. She no longer is a wrestler, but that is her makeup. Beautiful. I have her liquid lipsticks as well, and they are amazing. Okay, so I have this really boring sleek makeup palette. Very, very boring, but it's okay. And then of course I have my Alamar palette. I'm sure that you've seen this palette everywhere. I'll just swatch a few of these for you. But look at that. Isn't that just gorgeous? It has perfect.
Spiders. Spiders.
I'll never get rid of this palette. I've actually been trying to get a hold of the second eyeshadow palette for Alamar, and I can't find it anywhere. I'm sure I could get it on the website, but I was trying to find it like maybe on Mercari and no one wants to sell that palette. And I've got my Orb of Light Full Moon palette from Black Moon Cosmetics is here. And this is my absolute favorite, my favorite neutral eye palette. It's got some great colors over here. This is also a really good fall palette. And this Uno Magic palette. And this is from a BoxyCharm, I want to say, and it's a beautiful palette. I have used it. See this Dinero shade is beautiful. And then there's also, we'll do this Plata shade. Look how pretty that is. This Suva Block Party palette, and it is beautiful. I have used this for several looks. It has great pigmentation, blends great. We have the Lunatic Supernatural palette. Actually like this palette. It's a neutral palette, of course, but I actually like their contour palette that I've gotten from them much better. But this is a beautiful palette as well. Then I have this Ojai palette, and this is from Urban Outfitters. It's called the Treasure Eye palette, and this palette has some beautiful shades. See, watch this. They're really creamy for a company that sells clothes. That's a nice palette. Okay, so I used to have other Crown palettes, but I got rid of them, except I just have this Glam Metals palette. These shimmers are gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. They're very foiled. You put them with a glitter glue and they really pop. Okay, and then remember that company I said that kind of duped me into believing that they were helping me out? This is one of the palettes that they sent me. It's kind of funny actually. It has pretty bad pigmentation, and I just keep it just to remind myself not to be, you know, duped anymore. But yeah. I have this Stila palette, which I've wanted it forever, and now that I have it, I don't use it, so I don't know. Yeah, but that's what it looks like. One of my absolute favorite indie brands is Collective Cosmetics, and this is their Moon Twin eyeshadow palette, the Phobos and Diamos palette. And this is absolutely gorgeous. I've done several videos on this. I've used it, I want to say I used it for a week of looks on my Instagram when I first got it. This is a beautiful palette. And this is a Femier palette. It's called the Spring Forward palette. This again is gorgeous as well. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I have this Mavie palette. It's a Take Me to Los Angeles palette. This is a very pretty palette. I like it a lot.
Watch.
And this is the Divinity palette from previously was Strobe Cosmetics, but now it is Shroud Cosmetics. And this is absolutely gorgeous. And this is my Blush Tribe palette from Hasina, the Hasina 2. And it's absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely love this palette. I supported Blush Tribe, and now that they're going, that they closed their doors, they're opening another company, and I will be supporting that company as well. So I have this Musée Beauty Impressionism palette. If you can get your hands on this, I strongly suggest you do. This is a gorgeous palette. Absolutely, absolutely beautiful. Okay, so I have two palettes from a cosmetic indie brand called Not Your Dolly, and they look like this. So there's one, and this is the Izzy's Dream collection. And this is the Lisa My Love collection, also beautiful. I have my Makeup Forever palette. I really love this formula. This is the old formula for Makeup Forever. And here is the second one. And this is the, I don't even know. And I have this Nightingale palette, which was in a BoxyCharm. It's a cool tone brown palette. And we got another palette from a BoxyCharm from Butter London. It is, I don't remember what it's called, but the Natural Goddess palette, that's what it's called. I actually use this. It's a nice palette. This Pixie palette from Ulta that I purchased. I liked the highlighters and I liked some of the shimmers, but the mattes sucked. So, yeah. I have two palettes from Glamlight. I have this Miracle palette, and this is a gorgeous palette. I just got the Cake palette. And it is beautiful. I cannot wait to use it. Gorgeous. Okay, so here's some more. I've got my only MAC palette that I have left. Has been completely destroyed by my son. So yeah, this is the Shiny Pretty Things Rose eyeshadow palette. And then I have the Profusion Spectrum palette. I just purchased this to see how I liked the Profusion formula. This one's okay. It could be better, but it's all right. And then I have, this is my Love Luxe Fantasy palette. I like Love Luxe shadows a lot. They're beautiful. And I have this Poppy Cosmetics Neon Drip palette. I have used this on my channel and I posted on Instagram with it. And I just got this Uoma Beauty Black Magic Savage palette. I cannot wait to use it. It's beautiful. So I have this Wander Beauty Wanderess Seascape palette, and this is absolutely gorgeous. These shades, these shimmer shades, are creamy. They are absolutely beautiful. And then the mattes are nice as well. Check those out, they're so pretty. And then, let's see. The only Winky Luxe palette that I have is the Mermaid Kitten palette, and this is absolutely beautiful. The shades are gorgeous. It has some duochromes in it. This is a really good purchase. And then I got this Laura Lee palette in a BoxyCharm, and I hate to say it, but it sucks. I only keep it for reference. And I keep hoping that I'm gonna make it work. But yeah. And I got this palette from Max Up the Makeup. It's the Flower Child palette. It is absolutely gorgeous. I have some looks of using this palette on Instagram. And I have the Ready Set Summer palette. Looks like this. And I want to say this was the second palette. It's absolutely gorgeous. All right, we are almost done. I have just a few palettes left, thank goodness. So I have my Beauty Creations palettes. This is Annette 69. I got this in a subscription box. Looks like this. Have not used it. And I have this Elsa palette from Beauty Creations. Absolutely gorgeous. So I have this Volume 2 Splash of Hues, Beauty Creations. I've used this a lot, as you can see. So I have 3 Carity palettes. I don't exactly love the formula from Carity, but I have this Posh one. This formula I do like. This is one of their first palettes. And then I have this Unicorn Dreams, which is a pastel palette from Carity. Really have to build these up though. I mean, they're really, really light shadows. This one wasn't terrible, but it's also a complete shimmer palette, so that's why it's okay. This is a Carity one though. All right, so I have Lunar Beauty, and this is the Strawberry Dream palette, and it's absolutely gorgeous. just did a look with this not that long ago. And I have the Moon Spell palette from Lunar Beauty. This is a gorgeous palette. I absolutely love this palette. It's one of my favorite palettes. I've got some Violet Voss palettes. This is from a BoxyCharm. I really like the Violet Voss formula. I just don't like a lot of the color stories. Some of them I like, but not all of them. Like for instance, this Sugar Crystals palette. I absolutely love this palette. It's absolutely gorgeous. Perfect. It has these perfect inner corner highlights. These shimmers, you can build them up with a wet brush and they look gorgeous. And then even the mattes are nice. And I have this Drenched Metal palette from Violet Voss. Beautiful. I got this Holy Grail palette in a BoxyCharm. And it is gorgeous. I do like it a lot. So I have these two palettes that I've had for years and years. They are fairy palettes. I don't use them anymore, but I just keep them. Just keep them in my collection. I don't know why. I just keep them because I've had them for so long. Then I have a few of these palettes from Hot Topic. And these are all basically just for aesthetics. So I have the Handbook for the Recently Deceased from Hot Topic. And this is very cute. And then I have my Disney Mulan palette, again from Hot Topic. Also just for aesthetics. I have this Blackheart Interstellar, and I just liked that it had like names like Milky Way and Nebula, Moon Dust, Universe. I'm sure that it's pretty crappy quality. I don't expect anything more. And then of course, as you can see, I love Jack. He is everywhere in my life. And so we have the wonderful Nightmare eyeshadow palette. It was the 25-year anniversary palette. So there it is. Very cute. And then last but not least, this is another company that I have most of the collection from, which is Storybook Cosmetics. Now, I haven't bought anything from them in quite some time, but I recently, I want to say last year around Christmas time, the year before that, I purchased one of their big mystery boxes. So I got quite a few of these palettes in that. So I have my Burn Book Mean Girls palette. Looks like this. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so Storybook Cosmetics Mean Girls Burn Book palette. Beautiful shades. The quality of Storybook Cosmetics is actually really good. We have my Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and it came with my golden ticket, and of course my, and then there's the shades. Absolutely beautiful. This is the Storybook Cosmetics Fairy Tale palette from a BoxyCharm. It's beautiful. Little Briar Rose. Then we have the Witchcraft and Wizardry palette. This is the... Stop! You guys are going to bed. This is the actual palette. I have another one that was a dupe that I got duped out of on Mercari, which, I mean, it happens, but this is the original. And then this is the Imposter palette, which it's still actually a really good palette. It's just not exactly the same. So, all right. So that was the part 2 of my eyeshadow palette collection. Thank you so much for joining me, and I really appreciate that you were here with me. So I will definitely see you soon, and hopefully we will, I mean, if you have any questions about anything, there's a lot of pictures of my using these palettes on Instagram, and then of course, if you want me to swatch anything, just put it down below. And if there's anything else you'd like to see from me, like maybe you want me to swatch, you know, one palette collection, or, you know, one kind of palettes or whatever, for the video, I can do that. But just let me know down below. And thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you later. Bye.